Today finds me in northwest Connecticut. We're near the towns of Warren and Washington, Connecticut, in the village of New Preston at the Macricostas Preserve. Got, I think, a little over 500 acres back here for us to explore today. This map's half in the shadow and half out, but it does show several loops. You can make several figure eights back here. I got the map printed off, so we'll take a look at it as we go here, but well-marked trails as far as I can tell. This property is managed by the Steep Rock Association, which has several other properties in northwest Connecticut. And here we can really see the main attraction here, folks. This is a steep ridge with several natural overlooks, rising about 500 feet higher than where I'm standing to an elevation of about 1,200 to 1,250 feet. So there's trails that go up that ridge from several different spots. In the meantime, there's a lowland here with plenty of good farmland. They still cut hay back here, and they kind of keep the rest of it clear with a brush hog. Good farmland is scarce in Connecticut, especially in some parts of Connecticut. Northwest Connecticut, where you have some marble in the valleys around here, at least in some of the valleys, it does make for good farmland. So this valley we're standing in right now has marble underneath it. There's a unique wetland just to the east of here we might check out on the way back, but my main goal is to get up on this ridge and explore it for between 4 and 5 hours. We might check out the Meeker swamp on the way back, which is a unique wetland because of the marble in this valley. It has a different feel than the more acid wetlands in this part of the world. So let's check out the trail system here at Macricostas Preserve on a beautiful mid-March day. It's the second week of March, and kind of came in like a lamb and then turned to a lion, and had a lot of wind lately, but it's also melted a lot of the snow. I don't think we'll have a lot of ice to deal with, just a little bit of mud. Well, folks, obviously this hayfield would have taller grass a lot of the year and ticks to go with it. I think I'm okay in second week of March here on a colder day. I'll check myself anyways when I get back though. But this is so cool. I haven't done any hikes in this part of New England where you get broad open fields and then right next to it a rocky hillside. This is pretty neat. A lot of times the fields are still in private ownership, so this has a whole different feel. I feel like I landed in the Great Plains of Nebraska, and all of a sudden I'm right back in New England when I turn this way. So pretty cool looking contrast right here, and we'll keep recording what's here as we go. Well, you don't have to go too far from that hayfield to find all kinds of rocks. Pretty large boulder right here. And a little bit out of the wind, we can look at the trail map without it blowing away or my voice being too muffled. So the start of this hike, about 10 minutes ago, it's right off of Route 202 on a little side street called Christian Street. And there's a red house there that's part of the property, an old colonial house. And the Yellow Blaze Trail is where we're going to start this hike. We have been on it. It overlaps with the green trail, which goes around that beautiful hayfield. That was a lot prettier than I was expecting. It's pretty neat just to explore it a little bit. And the green trail makes that loop. We're going to stay on the yellow trail, cross Bee Brook, which we just looked at just now. And the Macricostas lookout is on the yellow trail. Right there. And there's also this Pinnacle Valley Trail. I'm half tempted to explore that first because it might have some neat ice formations and some waterfalls. If there's enough water, we might see what's back there. And eventually we're going to get to Macricostas Lookout either on the way up or on the way back, as well as Waramaug's Rock right there. And probably some more time to explore this orange trail and maybe even the red trail. We'll see how the time goes. I don't like to rush these hikes. I'd rather do less and explore more than try to do it all in one day. You get partial views through the trees this time of year on this Yellow Blaze Trail as you ascend to Macricostas Lookout here. You can see the hayfields down below where we started. Just an overall view of the west, southwest, south, and southeast. Turned out to be a pretty nice day. Forecast highs were upper 30s. You get in the sun and out of the wind, it's quite comfortable. Great hiking time, great time of year for hiking. And I just charted my location on the map using Google Maps to help me determine exactly where I was, and I believe we almost are to Macricostas Lookout here. And obviously there's been partial views the whole way, the last few hundred yards at least, so we'll see what kind of view we can get from the very top here. But the Waramaug's Rock is supposed to be a bigger, more open ledge than this one. Matter of fact, here's the sign for the lookout right here. So my approximate location on Google Maps matches up with what's here. Here's the sign for the lookout. So we're not at the top of the mountain yet. The top of the mountain's about 100, 150 feet higher than this. There's your sign for the lookout. And here's our lookout. And looking south from here, there's that really large hayfield that I thought was really cool. In the foreground there's another one just as large behind it. And rolling hills from here south, there's a few knobs that stick up higher. I think Mount Tom State Park is right up the street here. It's got a stone tower. I've never been up to it, but you can see the tower as you're driving down Route 202. I believe it's this knob right over here. Not sure if I can make out the tower from here, but just through those trees, I believe, is Mount Tom State Park, the Connecticut version of Mount Tom State Park. And much larger mountain in Holyoke, Massachusetts. Not in elevation, but the size of the mountain is much larger, and the park is much larger in Massachusetts. So here's our view. As we approach Waramaug's Rock, we're going to be looking more to the west and northwest where the mountains are higher. So we should get a more interesting view. This is very, very pleasant, and what turned out to be a very pleasant early afternoon. And just a few minute walk from the Macricostas Lookout, you do come to the junction of the orange and yellow trails. The orange trail split off down below near that boardwalk, and it rejoins us right here from the east. We're we're going to turn left out to Waramaug's Rock. It's only 4/10 of a mile. We'll do that, and we'll probably take the orange trail to loop back around on the way back. There might even be some more views up there since there's no leaves this time of year. We'll go check out the Waramaug Rock, which has a view of Lake Waramaug, which is a natural lake just a short distance west of here, maybe a mile. And we might even be able to see the area around Bear Mountain where I was 2 months ago. We'll see what's visible from the top. Alrighty, well, the wind's going to muffle my voice up here. I think we've made it to Waramaug Rock. And let's see what kind of view we can get from up here. Pretty wide open here. We should be able to see Lake Waramaug as we crest the top of the rock here, which is a natural lake, and it kind of occupies a valley with the marble in it as well. So marble erodes quicker than the schist and gneisses that surround it. It's a beautiful view. We are seeing higher mountains looking this way. I don't know if we can see Bear Mountain area from here. Pause every few seconds for gusts of wind. It'll muffle my voice, but yes, you can see Lake Waramaug here, still frozen, but probably not safe enough to go out on right now. So it's kind of wishbone shaped, but you can't see the whole lake. We got a narrow arm here. It goes out of view, and then there's another arm going to the west. And parts of it are out of view over there as well. Looking southwest, we're looking down towards New Milford and Danbury, Connecticut. I don't think the highest peaks around here are in our view. They're probably behind the mountains to our northwest. I don't see what looks like the Bear Mountain area around Salisbury, but we're looking southwest to some peaks that are 1,500 feet high, and looking into eastern New York State from here. So there's no obvious peaks that I can identify from here, not being an area where I hike that often. Sure is a pretty ledge. Get great photos this time of year. Sun's high enough that really warms up the photos, gives it a much warmer look, even on a cold day. And let's get some great contrast. So let's just poke around a few more minutes and then get out of the wind and eat some lunch. Alrighty, well, it's about 10-15 minutes back to where the orange and the yellow trails split off from Waramaug's Rock coming back this way. This is the way we came in. And we're going to take the orange trail on the, I think it's called the Ridgeline Trail. And might get some more views. And I'll record what I find along the way here. Beautiful sunny afternoon, despite being very blustery. The air is perfectly clear, no haze whatsoever. I took a lot of photos from the rock as well, and I'll tell you what, I didn't have to edit any of them. The lighting is just perfect this time of year. They all came out just right. So I often say that because I often hike this time of year. It's definitely true. So ridge line, here we are. Let's see if we can get some more views as we go. I often point out these trees because they often grow where we're hiking, at least in some parts of the Northeast. The deeply furrowed bark of our chestnut oak, adapted to withstand brush fires. The thick bark keeps the living part of the bark protected in a habitat like this where brush fires would occur. There's lots of it up here. I think there's some serviceberry up here too. I see some right there. So in a few weeks, depending on the weather, that would be in bloom. And often holds its flowers for only a few days, so usually I don't go trying to expect serviceberry on a hike that's not too close to home, because unless you're sure it's going to be in bloom, it may be past bloom or not bloomed, depending on exactly where you're going. But there are some hikes in southern New England where there's lots of it. I don't know if we're going to get any real rock outcrops. I think we can just go off trail a few feet here and take a look at the view through the trees. Now that one chestnut oak right there is all bent and twisted. Probably got snapped and then turned 90 degrees and started growing up again. Pretty neat looking. And there's that big hayfield we saw at the start of today's hike. And this is Meeker Swamp. There's geese in the background there. I think they came out okay in the view. Let's take a look at the map here and we'll finish this hike. Zoom in as best I can here. I think we're adding up to about 5 miles. There's distances printed off with each trail. There's a lot of overlap between the trails, so to get the exact distance I'm not going to try to do it, but I'm guessing about 5 miles. The yellow trail, which we followed all the way out to Macricostas Lookout and then westward to Waramaug's Rock, is 1.61 way. You could do that in an hour, no problem. The footing is never that difficult. There's not a lot of scrambling, just average hiking. And that's a busy trail. I saw probably 30 or 40 people today, and I wasn't even on it the whole time. When I came back, I split off the yellow trail and took the orange trail. I didn't see anybody on that, but it's very scenic. I took a lot of video back there, most of it without commentary, but there's a lot of rocks back there, a lot of ledge. Pretty interesting hiking. Eventually it comes back down into the valley here, becomes more ordinary scenery. And now I'm taking the green trail around the hayfield, and I've come to the overlook for Meeker Swamp. So a lot of cattail back there, not a lot of the acid-loving sphagnum moss or high bush blueberry you would often find in wetlands around here. So it's more of a neutral pH in here. So we're going to leave here and just continue clockwise around the hayfield back to the parking lot. I'll take a couple more videos of that hayfield. It was so pretty. And then that'll be the end of this adventure. Got more planned for the month of March, and should have time in April as well.